Kids screaming in the cradles, profanity.
Oh, no split.
I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you?
Hey guys, hi. Hello. Hello, let's watch PRX vs GenG match. City
On
Pacific.
bind, too.
Let's go.
Yeah, and GenG electing to go for attack side first on bind, so I'm really curious what they're going to have for that. This is going to be interesting. It is worth noting, I should say, that we do have the PRX gun up here. It's only we would have both, but the Korean desk had to take the GenG one. And we only have one copy of each gun, but these things look so clean.
They look really
Scene item.
They're great.
And they're on display downstairs. Like
Yeah.
the
You can
fans
fire
can
We
them.
have
go up to the...
all 11 teams are on display, but we decided to steal the 2 teams that are playing at any given time and split them amongst the analyst desks.
That's right. But it's cool. This is really cool, guys. And if you want to see it up close, you can buy it in Valorant,
That's true.
the bundle, and then you can stare at it.
What about
And the
real
GenG
life?
one. We have
And
to
the
be
GenG.
bipartisan here.
Absolutely. Which is also a great bundle with the tiger and everything. Predictions. What's it gonna be?
Well,
I think
PRX
this
is
a healthy
back,
mix,
bro.
and
This is
I
a
think
very
that's
healthy
what
mix.
2-1.
we'll see, 'cause
Prediction.
We have had some pretty
2-1.
landslide predictions in the past couple matches, and I think that this is pretty much the first map that really is a 50-50 at a really high level.
2-1
So,
അടിക്കും.
GenG.
yes.
PRX.
that's the question.
I mean, it just
Jing is
strictly
back.
because of just recency bias. They've been able to best them the most recent times that they scored off against each other. Yes, Jing does come back good overall. I think that the team looks good, but I think that they have way more catching up to do compared to GenG. Both teams just recently got back from travel. GenG only need to focus on resting for the most part, whereas PRX need to focus on both resting, having Jason not be sick, and then also developing, creating new set plays, new strategies that they're going to have coming into these maps. So I think they have more work to do with way less time.
For me, it's kind of like a pure faith pick, but also I feel like PRX is a team that would have tricks up their
First
sleeve,
half
so
ഏതാ?
I'm kind
Lotus
of
ഓ?
hoping to see
Lotus
that.
split
But I'm
bind.
more curious,
അതൊക്കെയാണോ
for
map?
Kilios, after seeing this map pick, after seeing Icebox coming in, would you kind of flip flop a little bit?
ഐസ് ബോക്സ് വരുമോ? ഐസ് ബോക്സ് ആണോ ഉള്ളത്? രണ്ടാമത്തെ map ഏതാ?
That they go to Icebox.
And down to നോക്കട്ടെ.
Thinking that PRX have something up their sleeve, that they're going to be doing something incredible. But I'm still going to go with GenG. I mean, they've showed their perseverance. I think again that Lotus is a little bit of a toss-up. I think it's a bold choice.
Okay.
But
I want you to finish your statement after we invite Coach Alex up here with us, so you can explain yourself.
Right here.
So let's welcome Coach Alex from PRX.
Let's wait.
Yes, please.
Our
Well,
favorite
Sinar
coach.
tanang ganda.
Hi, welcome back.
You like the icebox combo?
We
Yeah.
love it.
Was that a troll pick? Like last time you picked it was a troll pick. It wasn't a mistake,
That was
right?
not a troll pick. Like last time I
Icebox
practiced,
എടുത്തു.
he's going to play one game. We practiced for 5 weeks. And then they told us Icebox is leaving the map pool, so we had to pick it.
Okay.
It's a integrity thing.
It's staying in the map pool this time, just so you know.
Yeah, so now it's slightly better prepared.
did you know at that time that when he played Gecko there that it was going
Bro,
to be
Alexis
done that on?
laughing.
You guys in
Alex ചില്ലാണെങ്കിൽ സീനാന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഈ ജിങ് വന്നതിന് അലക്സ് ഭയങ്കര ഇതില്ല.
It's claw. Okay.
He's actually the one that's created the Gecko meta in the world. Right?
That's
This is
true.
ടു വാച്ചിങ് വെൽക്കം ടു സ്ട്രീം ഗൈസ്.
That's true.
ആരാ കാണുന്നത്?
Now,
കമന്റ് ഇടൂ.
thoughts on
Comment ഇടൂ.
Achilles' GenG prediction?
ചാറ്റ് ബോക്സ് അമർത്തി
You know, I'm
പൊട്ടിക്കൂ.
a superstitious guy, so... And I'm not a stats guy, but I need to know your hit rate.
പിന്നെന്തായാലും കോപ്പിറൈറ്റ് കിട്ടും.
I have to go with the recency.
So
I think that you
Kalinji and
guys have
David
had your hands full with needing to reintegrate Jing into the team. One of the things we talked about last time you were on the desk was, can we expect anything new? And the answer is no. We've had 5 days of practice.
Yeah, now we have
there's not
9.
that much time.
We have 9 now.
Now it's 9 days. So
better.
I'll be curious to see if there are going to be some overarching changes in the comps and strategies and whatnot.
ഇവര്
But I
കളിച്ചിട്ട്
think
കുറെ
that
ദിവസമായില്ലേ?
GenG, it's been a little bit easier for them to just kind of.
5-ാം തീയതി എന്തായിരുന്നു കളി?
You mean?
ഇപ്പൊ 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
All of us, we both came back like 1 day apart.
8
So,
ദിവസമായി.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if they took a short break, it would have been 9 days of practice as well. So it's quite fair. In fact.
9 ദിവസം കിട്ടിയെന്ന്
I
പറയുന്നത്.
ask you about your results in Madrid.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys got third, which was awesome. But I think you guys seem a little bit unsatisfied with those results too. What
Yeah.
were some of the learnings from Madrid against Gen?
ഞാൻ ഫസ്റ്റ് അടിക്കണ്ടായിരുന്നോ? എന്തായാലും സാറ്റിസ്ഫൈഡ്.
I'm quite satisfied.
Are you?
Hey, Siri.
Okay. I was mistaken.
No, I mean, Madrid. I think we went there a little bit low confidence, you know, and we were trying to fix our mindset mostly. So I think getting the third, we managed to get match practice in, you know, get stuff out of the way, like discuss with each other, try to make sure that we are aligned again. I think we took a step in the right direction there. So as far as I'm concerned, very satisfied for whatever happened in Madrid.
Do you think Gen G's improved since Madrid, based on the performance you saw last week?
Yeah, you can really see them adding things in their Lotus. In Madrid, some teams are using specific Viper mollies to control aim in from defense side. As soon as they came back, I can see them molly in their game against Talon. So I know they're actually still working the map pool. And I think if they pick Lotus against us, I think they know that that's their strongest map.
I am a little bit curious about Lotus, but I do think that picking Icebox is like 200 IQ genius move. But if there is anything to watch out for GenG, like what would you
Icebox
say?
are
What's their
Icebox
strengths in general?
മിക്കവാറും PRX
Coming
അല്ല
off, like,
4 second
full confidence, you know. Sure, you
chamber
lose
കളിക്കും.
but I thought it was very, very close. You know, it could have gone either way. It's enough to give you the boost you need, you know, to say, okay, I'm coming back to my region. The game should be easier, and we've beaten PRX twice, you know. So I think we're gonna play against a very confident GenG, and I'm hoping that we fight them, you know. I hope there's gonna happen like a
ഗ്രൂപ്പ്
brawl.
സ്റ്റേജിലും കിട്ടി,
I have one last question. This is actually for both of you.
ലോവർ ഫൈനലിലും കിട്ടി. ലോവർ ഫൈനലല്ല,
How's your day going?
ഗ്രൂപ്പ് സ്റ്റേജ് മാത്രം കിട്ടിയുള്ളൂ അല്ലേ?
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Did you
did
eat
go
the
great. To
snacks?
both of us?
Just wanted to catch up. Make sure everyone's just vibing.
So far,
having a
so
Yeah.
good. So far, so good.
Doing good?
Any stress eating so far today?
Stress eating?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, good.
I'm on diet now, you know. I'm trying to.
How are you? That's great. I love to hear that. Well, thank you so much, Coach. All the best.
Bye.
Aw,
Kamsahamnida. Kamsahamnida.
so much respect. I love it.
Yeah. I did want to ask about Jing, but you know, he's got to go down and coach. And I'm curious how Jing is going to be performing this time. I think Kilios you made a great point about Jing's performance. While phenomenal, there were shaky moments in his gameplay.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think that we expected that, whether it was a roster change or not, given that the teams were traveling back from Madrid. But, you know, I think that roster change just kind of compounded and added on to what would have been fairly normal shakiness that you see, you know, post-event. So I think that it is going to be a stronger team coming into this. I like Alex talking about Lotus right there, saying like, okay, you know, we do have to be a little bit concerned about this, even though it's a very comfortable map for us. If GenG are going to be picking that into us, they clearly feel very confident on it, and I think that goes, you know, the opposite side for that Icebox pick. So this could just end up being neither team wins on their map pick, but we go to 3. I very well could see that happening.
I would love to kind of see that happening. I feel like GenG's Lotus is really strong, but I am curious about what the agent picks would be, because Icebox coming in, then Jing, is it going to be still that Raze or back to a Sage, a Battle Sage? What's it going to be?
ഇന്ന് ഫീനിക്സ് കളിക്കും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ റെയിന
Go
കളിക്കും.
down to the stage.
ഓ,
So welcome
റെയിന
the
കളിക്കാൻ
players.
സംതിങ് ഉണ്ട്. Let's go. പൊട്ടി. ഇപ്പഴാ ടീമിന്റെ ഒക്കെ ഓരോരുത്തർക്ക് വന്നു കൊടുത്ത. യൂത്തിന്റെ ചിഹ്നം.
It's the rematch, the pride of Pacific, GenG and PRX, 2 teams that were at the top 3 of the world recently at Masters Madrid. But another side to the story is PRX going through the never-ending Korean gauntlet to try to buy back the hearts of the Korean fans once again here in Seoul. My name is William, joined by Paper Thin, and we'll be bringing you this first match of the night. And boy, what a way to start.
No, I mean, this is like a day that you had to have had marked on your calendars once you saw the Stage 1 schedule come out. Obviously, this could be another rematch coming into our Stage 1 finals. You know, today could just very well be like what the semifinals could be. I mean, like, it's such an exciting day overall. So, like, you want to see some interesting stuff here from both teams. I would Jing back. It's going to be interesting with PRX pretty much no matter what.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part here is that this GenG squad, obviously individually they've done it before, but as a team, they've actually never played against the Jing version of PRX, right? They never met each other during the off season, and now they'll have to go through this new iteration. So I'm really curious, how does that affect GenG, and of course, how does it affect PRX as the desk was discussing that? But now it's time to see how all the players are looking. Getting ready for their match today, trying to get a couple more championship points, and of course, leading their group to try to secure their spot into the playoffs. First up, it's going to be GenG, and of course, followed by their nemesis now in Pacific, PRX.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great storyline coming into this year with the way that already both of these teams have had to square up against each other multiple times, including at Masters Madrid. So this is really, really interesting. You know, with PRX going back to what worked for them previously last year when they got second at Champs with Jing in the lineup. You know, it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be high-octane gameplay for sure. But GenG, in my opinion, does a pretty good job managing some of those teams that try to get aggressive against them, that try to push space, that a team like PRX is definitely going to try to embody. We know that. We've seen it time and time again. So let's see exactly how both teams are going to kind of move their chess pieces around against each other. And with Lotus as a start, a map that both teams are pretty familiar with, so it's going to be really fascinating.
Yeah, I'm glad that there's not going to be any asterisks here in that first map, right? The second map of Icebox, obviously some question marks still remain. But in this first map, pick. And while this is one of those maps that's always plagued PRX in terms of how do we figure out our own meta, do we even follow the regular meta, etc., they've always been able to at least put up great numbers on it, win or lose. Of course, most recently still showing that they are willing to return to that double duelist with Something and Jing at the helm.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of that today, most likely. You know, definitely Something is very comfortable on the Jet, Jing very comfortable on the Raze, and they're good enough and they're smart enough that they can make those kind of things work. So, just curious on Lotus.
പക്ഷെ എന്തൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാലും 4 സെക്കൻഡ് ലിസ്റ്റ് കളിച്ചാ അതൊരു വിഷയം കളിയാണ്.
With something, but generally I think you can expect the Jet Raze and then some other things to follow. And that other things do kind of change from time to time. Sometimes Forsaken does move away from the Cypher. Yeah. It all just kind of depends on what they've been able to
do. Guys, prediction Lotus എടുത്തത് GenG, Icebox എടുത്തത് PRX, final map bind.
Because while sure you both had the same amount of time after returning from Madrid, again, this GenG squad got to basically use now Masters Madrid as experience to continue building on as a whole team, whereas PRX, it's readjusting, of course, to their core. But nonetheless, I mean, they've talked about it even in that their opening match here at Pacific of Jing needing to get used to the current meta, right? What pros are doing in scrims and in matches, things like that. So we'll see. Was 1 week enough to get Jing really dialed in perfectly? Because we saw a lot of hits of their old colors in that first week.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you know, it's funny, you know, Jing was watching all the matches, obviously. He was co-streaming Masters Madrid. But then I was talking to them, and he said even when he got into the games, like for the practice again, he said already PRX was playing way different than he was expecting. It was still taking him time to get into things. So it's even though you watch it, even though you've seen it, even though you think you kind of understand the concepts, it's actually playing at that speed is very, very difficult at the pro level because things change so quickly like you're talking about.
Well, there's not going to be any changes for this map, though, in terms of composition. GenG going with the stock standard, the fade on top of the Raze, and meanwhile, PRX still sticking with the single controller, but going with double duelist, Something and Jing. Of course, Jing kind of leading the charge a lot whenever they do this. Something
double controller
really the opping, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really exciting to watch. I think especially the way that Divide can work with Something on the sky, I think is really impactful. The way you can set them up with those guiding lights is often really destructive. Like, PRX is a team that has a lot more success taking the A site than most teams do on Lotus because of that combo, because of the ability of Ilya. And he also changes up his guns, right? You've seen him take the jump, things like that. The Shorty, very, very powerful on some of those corners. And it's a lot of Divide oftentimes setting him up for those close quarters engagements.
We'll see GenG, how do they prepare against it? Coach Alice gave them credit for already adapting to things they had picked up from Masters Madrid. But now with PRX just peering into the notes against GenG, how well can they adapt in game? We will kick off map 1 of this best of 3. It's a rematch of the kickoff finals, and it could be a preview of upcoming finals as well in the future. GenG on defense versus PRX on attack.
No doubt, a duel of the fates. It seems
PRX
to be like
തോക്കട്ടെ, final
so very excited to see exactly how this is all going to shape out. And already kind of a different look here for GenG on this pistol round. 3 right down to B.
Ooh.
And I think they have a pretty decent read on what PRX likes to do. You're going to see this. These 3 in particular play a lot together on this map on the defender's side. The Fade, the Raze, and the Omen. The combos here really, really devastating. With the Paranoia, the Blast Packs, the smokes. I went back and watched some of the VODs of this map. I'm so impressed with the way Karon plays Omen.
Yeah, I mean, he's really grown into one of his own, and it's going to be a read, but Jing's going to get the first shot and leading in numbers as well. PRX not going to pick up the tempo, though, with the counter paint shows coming out. Slows them down, and now just leaving a lurk. They will reset to explore other parts of the map. Now rotating over to Mound, they would have control of the revolving door as well.
This is huge. They get the heals off as well from Divine. So yeah, Mindfreak taking quite a bit of damage there in that exchange, but able to get him up a little bit. The door is open, and looks like PRX is really highly concerned on C-Exec.
Yeah, but despite the heals, of course, not all topped up just yet. Munchkin, can he get the nice shots in through? And the Poison Cloud comes up, but Forsaken, he still somehow crouches and continues moving forward, dodges the bullets, and now Texture. I mean, it's a 2v3. No real point of waiting for backup. He's got to dwindle the numbers, but he's been checked out through that one-way. Meteor now on the backup, and PRX, they've taken their post-plant positions, 3 spread apart with crossfires all the way through. But a nice headshot from Meteor, kicks things up, and before he catches the trip, he's gonna get the second, down to a 1v1, and Texture already wrapping around. GenG will recover the pistol round for a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, I think PRX is gonna be kicking themselves a little bit after that one. Unaccounted for. That late push from Meteor, still had a Paranoia, still had a flash in hand. They weren't able to confirm any of that information, get an idea of where they're coming from. Divine just straight up loses that battle to Meteor. And certainly Mindfreak trying to do what he can, but GenG there, well read, even though they lose that opening play there, Jing just gets a drive-by with the Frenzy. And even though they're able to heal him up fully, they're able to track the PRX quite nicely. Shift their weight over to that C site. He's so smart with his timings. He's so accurate. Such a difficult player to deal with.
And that's exactly who PRX is going to be meeting up with here in round 2. Taking that ult orb on C, but they're not going to push just yet. Of course, set up their own one-way for a little bit of delay. Of course, a lurk already coming through for PRX as well. A lot of movement around the map, trying to make sure that they have options moving forward. The alarm bot tripped, gotten rid of, and now took a little bit of damage on the side of Forsaken, but of course with the Sheriffs, they're just looking for these one-taps. They've pushed C, they've pushed B, now setting their sights onto the A side, pushing Karon back on a timing.
And he's going to have a smoke back up in a second. Let's see if they can take advantage of that. They're going to try to make an entry of it, and Karon, knowing that he's all alone, just going to back off. Yeah, it's really smart of him. He knows that this is likely a death ball coming at him.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the eco, especially with PRX and Texture, not going to greet it either. They recognize the push has come through. Karon just going to look to hold close quarters with a Spectre stuck on tree. But look at this, GenG already aware of the possibility of a rotate back into B. He's been blind, but now his sights back. Lappy there, still a 1-for-1, 2-for-2 trade for PRX. Pushing heaven, picking up weapons. Texture recognizes the danger, has to keep them at bay. Now it's all 3 members of GenG pinching onto the site. Karon takes care of one. The double PRX is stuck on heaven. Texture just keeping them at bay until his teammates are able to pinch in. But Divine gets a kill on the drop. Karon hoping for backup from Texture, and they'll both get a kill each at the same time, recovering the anti-eco.
Yeah, great patience at the end from GenG. This is something that has made them so successful this year, is they're rarely not attacking together when there's at least a couple players left. Like, the trades are great, the flank timings are really, really good. That means the communication is really, really good for GenG. A great Paranoia from Mindfreak to bust this open, and a couple great shots to back it up. Left Meteor very uncomfortable there. Karon there working that Spectre very nicely against the Guardian, not giving it really much opportunity to find an easy headshot from that angle. So well played by him, buying time as well. So very nice for GenG. So they get the expected win, but still a decent amount of damage done here by PRX. Leaves it on only a couple Guardians, some Ghost, and 2 Sheriffs.
Yeah, I mean, you lost a Bulldog and a Guardian, right? Bought triple Guardians there to try to really snowball things forward as both teams trying to have a bit of a skirmish to control Rubber. It's going to be a late delay from GenG. We've seen a lot of teams adjusting to this. It's going to be a high-low from Karen as well, off of all the util masking the sound. And that is Rubble taken over. No weapons dropped on the side of GenG. Just said upgrades coming through, but Forsaken, we've seen him lurk through so early once again from Baby Door. It's gonna be a triple. Can he get yet another ace? He seems to do it every time here on Lotus. And now GenG spread apart, having to fight solo on either side of the map, while PRX, they'll be grouping up as 3. They don't want to make the same mistakes. They want to make sure that they're there for trades. But Meteor has led them on a bit of a wild chase all the way around the site. Texture gets spotted by the cam. Looks like, I mean, GenG, they may not have time to really activate anything here with the remaining timer of the spike.
Texture able to upgrade the gun, cannot win the duel against Devi though.
And it's just Meteor, who doesn't actually have a weapon either, so he'll have to go for whatever damage he can get, trying to isolate the 1v1s. He gets one. Oh, I thought he might be able to get 2. Of course, the spike's still ticking down. It's going to be the round win for PRX.
This is a really interesting execute here. Not an execute, like a space take for GenG, let's put it that way. They did not do anything quite like this when they played Talon. This is a very different look there.
But Talon did this against them, right?
Exactly,
a lot of that delayed retake of Rubble.
No, exactly. So this was like something they weren't really doing. And the combos they used here a little bit different. Karon was rarely getting up on top of Rubble. It's usually allowing Texture to work the backside of Rubble, while Karon smokes for him and paranoias for him, and then the Fade is there to grab a haunt to try to get a reveal for Texture. Very different look. This is much more like what they usually do on these takes. You can see a Boombot this time to clear that space. Really well read here by PRX. This was something Talon never really addressed, and Karen's going to go to try to get up top again. PRX doesn't want to mess with this right now. They're going to wait things out, spread the map a bit.
Again, tries to reposition on a timing there, and something will get the peak. I mean, Munchkin recognizing that he didn't really have an exit, want to get close to one side or the other, but he will be picked off. That forces GenG to reinforce your B site, and that's just going to leave something here as a distraction on the side of PRX. They'll even open the door to make sure that backup does not arrive onto the C site. Meteor, can he hold on to this alone? But it's going to be a perfect paranoia, and he's been surrounded. He's just trying to stay alive, but it's too many members, and now the flood of GenG that used to be so perfect has been broken apart into just a couple drops. PRX, all alive, spiked down, and looking forward to a flawless round here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so difficult to play against the speed and aggression of PRX and the combos of all that utility flying in there. Every team in the world that's had to face them has had to deal with it. And you never quite know what to expect because the timings are always a little bit different. They're always a little bit uncharacteristic from what you saw in their previous replays. Like, they're kind of shifting how and when things happen with their utility. Like, the Paranoia might come a little bit later. The Guiding Light might come a little bit later. Things like that make it really difficult. You could see Meteor there just had no idea what to do on the C side. He's just trying to find some kind of safety, and there was none.
Yeah, and I think a lot of something that PRX has learned as well is that GenG will oftentimes be prepared for those trades, right? So they don't want to take any chances. If you're going to go into the site, we might as well dump everything we have. Make sure that we are coming out on top, because that is something that plagued them both times where they made up against GenG so far in 2024. Take a look at some of these replays as they just barrel into the C site. Now, as we see the adjustments coming in on both sides, it's going to be GenG who's going to be lacking the credits. We'll still have a couple of rifles. They're going to force up to a certain extent, just towing that line for half armor by, and of course a Marshal for Meteor. And we're not going to see any of the ults come line as Texture, of course, already sent to Showstopper.
Never count out Meteor with a Marshal. He's one of the best in the business with that gun. The deeper paint shells this time, no space taken off of it. Just trying to bully them away a little bit, although the cam did go up here for PRX, so they know that they can push a little bit further. They could take advantage of this site, which maybe GenG is expecting them to have backed off a little bit. Now, Forsaken over towards B as well. Really important here.
I mean, PRX, they recognize that if no one's pushing Rubble after that utility, somewhere else there has to be more info, and they're going to start to combat for that space, and Forsaken is going to have a great time to take over B side as the rest of the main force is starting to pressure A, drawing out a lot of utility from the defending team. During this, map, checking out the entry points into B. Will he have a timing? Meteor has his eyes set, but PRX, they just want to pinch in. They realize with the number of utility flying into A, it's going to be a safe bet. Now Jin going all the way far back, perhaps way too far ahead of his team. No backup there. A rifle dropped for GenG to pick up. This could be a bit danger. PRX recognizing that, they'll start to push out.
That was tough there for Jin. Couldn't quite get his aim under control. Maybe seeing a little bit of that rust on him. GenG gonna realign for this retake. Free gonna pressure Forsaken here. They've got a crossfire set up.
Yeah, it looks like GenG, they just want to make sure that they're able to pick up a couple more weapons before they go in. And look at that, a triple peak, high-low crouch as well, but now it's back to from the side of PRX. They're not letting this go yet. Mindfreak will spray down the remaining members, and Texture all alone with a Sheriff. Can't make the magic happen this time. PRX will be taking over the lead, 3-2.
I mean, Mindfreak looking really sharp here today on this Omen. Not only with his utility, but his shooting crisp as heck. 7 kills so far for him. Showstopper for Jing. A little bit whiffy, but you know, Jing just taking a little bit to get into it. We've already seen that after a couple maps. He felt pretty comfortable in the first go-around against T1, so certainly expect him to pick up the pace. And are we going to see one of those quintessential off-the-rip fast hits from PRX? The double satchel, yeah, exactly. The double satchel into the showstopper. Definitely something to be considered for GenG for sure.
Yeah, PRX, they've already taken him out. They're not masking any sound here. It looks like they're going to be ready for a boombot scent as well, trying to make sure that Meteor cannot combat this. He doesn't have much to work with. All his Yuto already taken down, but it's Karon here for backup. Munchkin as well, opening the door. They actually get fired back upon. Mindfreak is just continuing the spree as he takes one down, and that opens up a timing here for PRX to enter the site. Meteor, can he hold on to it? No, the flash is too good. The paint shells will keep him tied up, and the showstopper will make sure no one else from GenG can approach as Karon eventually gets taken down from the lurk of Forsaken as well.
Forsaken didn't have his gun out, and still Karon couldn't quite get him in time. So tricky to deal with. That showstopper comes out, and Forsaken's already lurking on your back line. Ooh, the dink by Texture.
Doing some damage, but there's just so much to get through, and you don't have much space to work with. Lakia will still be able to fire back against Jing, but a lot of that timer's already run down. The spike ticking away. They're still going to go for it. Prowler on pressure for Texture to run in. Seemingly wanted to take advantage of that low health on the dink. And it's going to Texture. He lands just onto the tripwire. And at this point, Lakia, he doesn't have a way out either. Just trying to fight for his life, making sure that they do not chase. And it's just the lone Vandal saved up. Forsaken on the hunt. He knows that he just has to try to go for a run and gun, but will not greed for it either. Stabilizes at a 4-2.
Yeah, it's really interesting because normally you expect PRX to kind of just come at you off the rip, you know, when Jing's got a showstopper and things like that, but they're slower with it. They're not quiet about it because the footsteps were being given away. It's almost like PRX is trying to bait out GenG a little bit to see what their reactions are going to be here early, to see what they can get away with. And when that double door opens, Mindfreak is so crisp right now. He's just ready for it. Gets one, does a ton of damage to another, and then Jing able to perfectly place his paint shells, use that showstopper to push them towards Forsaken. Forsaken a little bit lucky to get away with his kill on Karon, but still the ideas for PRX are really, really good right now.
Yeah, just a lot of adjustment, having learned from their previous matchups, understanding that GenG will always have a plan to provide backup. If not, the site's going to be left empty, right? They had things like the lockdown, so PRX not wanting to take any chances of dumping things into the void and then getting flooded upon. Really understanding the habits of GenG, and I think this is one of those maps where GenG is starting to get tested all the way to their limits. How much does your kind of fundamental playbook go, right? It's not about the set play, it's about how you're adjusting to the tempo of the opponents. We'll have to see how much their homework has been done as we take a look at round 7. The Econ once again quite broken on the side of GenG, just the lone Vandal carried over, and Meteor will be relying on a trusty old Marshall once again up on the other side for something.
And these wins are so huge for PRX because they keep those ults in a weird cycle. They're not able to really get those down and start cycling them back again. So you're just ult orbs that you would love to have. Instead, they're not able to really get like the Nightfall there, the lockdown as well in play in that previous round. Able to find any availability to use them. That works so nicely in PRX's favor. And by the way, both teams are really good on their defender side usually. GenG has been really stalwart in their defense on this. Now they're going to overstack C, kind of expecting that this has been where PRX feels like they have a good read onto Meteor and his positionings.
Yeah, but backup all arrived, right? And this is even with that snake bite to try to fake them out away from A's site. It's going to be Texture who's trying to make sure he blocks him up, but he's a little too scared to fire the first shot. And that gives time for Jing to turn around for a double. Uncharacteristic of the star duelist of GenG to hesitate on the trigger. Let the round slip away. Karon, the rookie, last one alive, and Forsaken continuing the jiggle for another round win.
It's just incredible. the timing and the coordination you can already find here. You know, you're just going to dive in with the shorty as you would kind of expect. But then you have Jing up on the box to cover you as well. So this executes so good. The late paranoia right on top of Munchkin there. Even if he had maybe gotten a kill on Jing or something like that, didn't even matter. But still, love what GenG, or excuse me, PaperX is doing. Really nicely timed heads, kind of waiting things out, feeling out GenG enough. And they're able to do what you were talking about earlier, Will, that they're just dumping utility when they know they can get value out of it. And that's been really powerful. Big hit, trade, Meteor, and Terra
as well. Mindfreak trying to stabilize, but eventually goes down, and PaperX really choose to stay and fight. Forsaken wondering if the Prowler would spot him. It does eventually, but he's on duty now. He has to lead the forces as something still sticking with the operator for the time being. Both trying to open up the right side of the map. Targeting B site and Rubble. Something's going to make a lot of noise, waiting for Forsaken to gain some intel in the middle of the map. And GenG, they don't want to fall for this. They're trying to make sure they group up on the defender spawn and make sure they don't let Forsaken know of their whereabouts. Spike plant, heard by Meteor. Going to enter onto drop, and it looks like it's just going to pinch even with the Nightfall to make sure he does get tagged right at the end. Has no audio. A little bit of that decay as well.
Still has the Blade Storm. That back pocket. Lockdown gonna have to be invested.
I mean, GenG, they really want to make sure that they don't get pinched from the flank as well. They are prepared for everything, and Lakia with a snap on, but something with a flick to answer back. And now the lockdown goes through. Still not enough time though. The defuse already started. So
and
I mean, consolation prize, I suppose, for PaperX is you got him to use 2 big ults in a 2v3. That's like a huge win in my book for PaperX. Yeah, you lose the round to that early aggression, essentially. A great idea, great change of tempo for GenG to just kind of push out. And it looked like PaperX might have been somewhat ready for it, at least on the C side, but the B side caught him enough off guard. It was able to be a punch through for GenG, get a much needed round win, especially with rifles in hand to bank up a little bit of extra economy, because it is deep pockets for PaperX right now. They've got some ults again. Showstopper once again for Jing going to be available. You do have the Viper's Pit for Munchkin. See how he wants to use it, but I think he's going to be a little bit patient for it. You want to make sure that you aren't going to be cleaned out early. Maybe if they get a spot on you and the Showstopper in the right place.
Yeah, generally, GenG, one of those teams that does like to wait for a little bit of a surefire way to send that ultimate, even if it's on a timer near the end of the round, something like that. So we'll have to wait and keep our eyes on Munchkin. But like you mentioned, GenG's ult economy, a little bit mixed up, whereas PaperX, they've got their options even with the operator. Now Texture waiting on the C side for GenG with his own operator that allows his teammates to be ready with a trap play near Baby Door. Paranoia already spent though, so Charon just gonna have to wait for the crossfire. The tripwire sent, no reaction. Forsaken trying to bait this out. He knows that this door is open for a reason. And now they execute on through. The revolving door is going to happen. Wow. Jing sends it, uses the Showstopper as an extra boost to move forward, dodge all the bullets. And the site has just been broken open. So we do see a bit of a trade near Baby Door, but something is the guard. Can you get through him?
No
oh,
idea.
The barrel. No idea. Lakia still hidden right by it. They sniffed something, but not how close enough it was. And now the retake. GenG, 3 members ready for the flood. Just trying to draw a lot of aggro towards that Baby Door side. Draw them out into the open. Mindfreak going for a bit of a Hail Mary from the shadows. Meteor going to stabilize the shot first. But now the pinch. GenG, they hear his shots. And it's going to be a peek out from Texture, but he gets taken down. Mindfreak still going for it. Half already done by Munchkin. The defuse, they just want to try to stick it. But the spam's coming. Stick it now. And he's pinpoint on for the headshot. And Devi will clean
Mindfreak, perfect ult.
For PaperX. Yeah, beautiful read here by Mindfreak. Been so good for PaperX on this half. Using his ult at the perfect time. Putting himself right at drop. An interesting spot to go. You might expect as GenG that he goes a little bit deeper with it. Have to invest the Viper's Pit. Try to make this retake a little bit safer. But the crossfire good. Texture just not quite able to find that shot with the picked up operator off of something. Now something is going to grab that judge. Finally probably going to invest the Blade Storm as well. Got that 3-man execute towards GenG, but nobody from PaperX is even going to be in that destination.
Oh man, I love this from PaperX. Anytime GenG is weak on their buys, it's going to be Meteor who's targeted, but you can't count this guy out with single shots. He'll take down 2. It's going to be the Rays and Sky down something, also taking a big hit. And that will slow down PRX. So Meteor, a bit of an adjustment there. Instead of waiting in the site, pushes out towards Mound to challenge them early. Allows his teammates to come for backup. And now B and C site have been flooded. They will be found through the neural theft.
And now they're going to change ideas. Saw too much pressure. Try to make it work onto B. Forsaken looking for the pick off the ping, but not quite able to find himself that kill. Plant going to be able to come down. Switch to the Vandal.
Oh, with the classic! Woo! Oh, takes him down. That's a rifle upgrade. Now Forsaken's lurk. Are they ready for this? They have no idea. Forsaken, he'll just take the 1 kill. He's happy to buy time to try to bring home this round victory. Tries to flick up, but that's a tough one. Lakia will be able to find that kill. Mindfreak dodges, and he won't be able to connect to the second one. Munchkin picking another with the Sheriff, and it's going to be the Thrifties of GenG that return.
Yeah, the classic GenG Thrifty. So good at this, and Meteor just a little bit further ahead than maybe PRX was expecting. They got the ping off the flash, and I could see some level of potential preparedness there for PRX that maybe somebody would be at that mound, but Meteor was just too fast and too good. And Forsaken tries to double pump a bit after he got that 1 lurk kill, but Lakia reads it perfectly, that he's still going to be trying to pressure that angle. So nasty from Meteor there. I mean, you can see they're firing at him. They're pre-firing, trying to get to him. Meteor's just too quick, too good.
He's been in that position so many times before.
He's insane, man. I mean, with those, like you said, the one-tap weapons, there's few that are better.
Well, now Texture, he'll have to get an operator bot from his teammates. They were trying to look for one, but little did they know, PRX didn't invest in another in that previous round. And there won't be another this time either as we go into the last couple of rounds of the first half. PRX still leading 6-4. Something dashes ahead of Rubble, takes all this space, and he's ready for it as well. Sees the tag, sees Lakia getting hit right through the Toxic screen. No idea what hit him. And now 2 members of GenG still on the A side. But a lot of risk, tries to take the shot, but he's a little too late, only hits the Trailblazer. And another swing out, but Texture, good for another. Oh, that's going to be the double blast back. Completely draws the crosshair away. And PRX seems to have good control of this A site once again.
The reaction protocols from PRX are so good. Right on the back of that Trailblazer to try to set something up. Yeah, he dies, but immediately Jing satchels past the operator, knowing that he's stuck in place without using satchels of his own to get out. There's no quick out for Texture there, and Jing and Forsaken take perfect advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely an honest moment of, was it a burr, was it a plane? No, it was Jing. But by the time he figured that one out, Texture was down and out. Now it's going to be the 7th round win for PRX. Finally bringing some good old meta balance to the attacking and defending win rates to Pacific.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean,
we haven't seen this in
quite
so often.
I know. Lotus has been a super defender-sided map, but it is going to be the team ace for PRX. They will claim a 7th round, at least a positive half, no matter what happens in the last one. Let's see if GenG can make it 7-5. Money just there. I think. Not exactly sure for GenG. Gonna need to see another look.
So.
Yeah, I think they have just enough to get through with the buys. I mean, it's so nasty from Jing. What do you do against this?
Yeah, and then he still gets Karon as well. Karon trying to figure out where he needs to provide backup, but it's just too fast. And while Jing has to adapt a little bit, okay.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna go for a Sheriff, a Bucky, and a Spectre on the side of GenG, all to make sure that Texture can get an operator. Just so we're clear, he hasn't fired too many shots with that weapon in this first half.
No, it is quite the mixed bag here for GenG. Try to see if they can shut this down. And look at PRX kind of ping-ponging here, and it's so fast. They're already on B. Forsaken already taking space, already trying to see if they can clear this open.
I mean, it's as if they have a hard read on this off-buy, right? The 4-sub, seeing that the weapons probably are all over the place. We just have to make sure we don't run into the operator, nor any of the amazing ultimates on the side of GenG. Nightfall gets used. 2 members will dash out, but something gets ahead of it. Doesn't need audio when he's up in the air, and it's going to be the showstopper trying to keep the rest of PRX at bay, but Jing jumping forward, gets a lot more kills, and now just Meteor left alive. Picks up the operator. He's always been good for 1, but can't even good for 3. Not even a single kill.
Winnable. Lotus is winnable for PRX.
I mean, this is starting to look like 2023 PRX for sure. I mean, yeah, there was some really good ideas here early on where PRX was utility trying to figure out exactly how GenG was going to play things. We're seeing some of that same control either from GenG towards Rubble that they were doing time and time again against Talon. You know, a lot of times GenG, you would see the Fade, the Omen, and the Raze all taking that Rubble control early and then using that to kind of box Talon in. However, PRX was kind of like waiting it out, and they'd say, okay, we could send something forward a little bit. Okay, they don't like what they see, they're going to pull back, and they're really brutalizing Meteor on that C site early and often, and that kind of set things off kilter for GenG. It didn't really feel like they were ever comfortable, and then a lot of times, GenG's been really good so far this year with anticipating like some of those deep pushes after a plant goes down, and they did a really good job absorbing that pressure against like Talon.
Sure.
But today, I mean, it's because it's PRX, because they stack
GenG
so
വാമപ്പാണുള്ളത്.
many things at you so quickly. It's so tough to deal with.
And the tempo changes as well from round to round. It's not just the old W gaming all the way through, right? Sometimes you're baiting out the ultimate. Sometimes you're trying to get ahead of it. PRX definitely starting to creep into GenG's head a little bit. Now GenG will have to clear their minds as they now take the initiative on the attacking half. Toxic screen set up on A, the default screen to help take control of Rubble. And it's going to be 4 ghosts, just a half armor for Charon. Looking to stack towards B. They will meet each other once again.
This is looking just like our previous pistol round. It's
First
just different
round
teams on
പോലെ
different
ഉണ്ട്.
sides,
Yeah.
but it's like almost the exact same setup. So you're going to rely on Forsaken for PRX to kind of lock down the A site, get the info for a retake potentially, but it looks like it's going to be another brawl right at the front of B.
And they'll run into each other right away. The guiding light, and it is going to be antied, and there's a paranoia, counter paranoia as well. Do they recognize where it came from? No, they're going to spot Mindfreak a little too late, and their crosser spot as well. Double kill for Jing. The answer back from the door from something as well. The backup is there for PRX. Now a 3v2, but of course the battle still 2v2 as Forsaken awaits the approach on the A side.
ഒരു push ചെയ്യുവാ.
Good read now for GenG, moving towards C, seeing if they can get it. But of course, as is tradition, PRX not letting go of those W keys and just going to keep right at their heels, right behind them. Now Lappy is watching it. Is he going to be able to get it? Nope, that's spiked down too.
Not quick enough, and Munchkin, he's afraid of the flank now, recognizing that they're pushing him from behind. You got to be afraid of where's Forsaken coming from, because surely it's going to be a pinch and a wide swing. Something's been loving those here at VCT Pacific as they continue the lead in the second half.
I mean, many try to brawl with PRX, few succeed, and I like it from GenG. See if you can get a confidence win here, see if you can get a boost, but it just isn't ever really able to be dealt with. That boom bot not quite cleared, causes some serious problems as well. So again, the slight delay with some of these util timings from PRX, playing off of contact with their utility. This is something they do so well time and time again, that a lot of teams don't really understand or anticipate until they played against it, especially with Jing in there, because Jing is full on confidence. He does not care at all what you're doing. He is going to take the fight to you when he feels like it's time.
Yeah, I mean, Jing is quite frankly overheat incarnate, but PRX work really well with it as an active drone, and it also gets a lot of kills at the same time. So it's a bit unfair sometimes, but we'll see GenG. It's not going to be this round as they are just sitting on a singular sheriff, but can they stabilize in the upcoming rounds, because they don't have too many left. PRX are only 4 rounds away. We've been seeing the outlaw a lot from Jing. He misses the first, he misses the second. He's in a bit of danger now. He's got to run away, but something is there with a Vandal. GenG, you did not account for this one. The hate shells will knock Jing out, as Jing wanted to greed for another off with a reload, but now back up a ride from Devi. GenG, all their eyes set on something. He's trying to draw aggro. It's going to be Meteor who's just checking. There's the jump peek, but it's going to be Devi who swings out first. And now just trying to spray down the close members. The classic comes into play as well. And Devi doesn't need the PRX buff. He'll just get the kills himself alongside Mindfreak.
Yeah, there's just nobody else in the world that does these setups. I mean, PRX just does bizarre stuff, putting the outlaw up on top of the rock there, and then you've got something just holding the angle out in the open, and Jing sticks around just a little bit longer, and that's intentional. That's to buy some extra time there. To force kind of the hand of GenG, where they say, okay, maybe we can isolate Jing. Maybe he overstayed his welcome. Like you were just saying, sometimes he overheats, sometimes he kind of goes for those extra big plays when he doesn't need to, but it's all just bait for something. Even though he whiffs the shots, there's an extra layer there for PRX.
I mean, of course, also the fact that they're double duelists, right? Both of them having that mobility to continue to extend that fight until Devi or Mindfreak, other members of PRX arrive. And GenG, if they can't get the kill right away, if it's not a headshot one tap, you gotta question whether you want to continue the fight or not, as PRX, they love to drag it out in that mud fight. And now it's going to be Texture planted in rubble for this round. GenG, they've taken over that space, but at the cost of quite some big util, like the Paranoia already being spent by Charon. Now planting the lurk into B as well. Classic GenG coming out, classic default with this composition. Spread out the lurks across the map, see if you get a reaction. Now at 50 seconds, they still haven't cleared the Cypher setup though on C. That's going to be their next obstacle.
Yeah, it's going to be the kind of go signal for PRX to start pushing the rest of the map. I like what PRX did here, really tried to hide their setup.
Stunned.
Oh, they got him.
Trying to creep forward, but it's just not enough, and something clears that. And GenG, they wanted to rotate back. They wanted to plant something in C, but now they'll have to just start to walk in and clear all these traps. They have no idea where Forsaken might be. They're creeping forward. They thankfully will clear out the Cypher, and now taking over the site. It's going to be a quick surround by PRX. Revolving door and something now from defender spawn as well. Trying to clear the angles. He draws the side of one, and that's going to be the cue for the rest of the team to start pinching it forward. Divide trying to draw aggro, but he goes down. Now, GenG, can they win the duels? It's going to be Munchkin who wins one. Now a 2v1, Mind Freak, he gets one. Can he get the second? The spray down not quite landing. And Munchkin finally gets one more on the board for GenG.
He almost had that.
Almost.
He almost had that. I think you got to ding through the wall there. Absolutely bonkers stuff today from Mind Freak. He is playing some of the best Valorant we have seen. This Omen stuff, this is a huge win right there. If Forsaken gets one before he's traded, now, if you want to fault PRX at all there and say that Forsaken gets a little bit ahead of things, but Forsaken just trying to see if he can catch him off guard a little bit, but fortunately for GenG, they know, they're wise to the trickery of PRX. They know that you never know when one player is going to be pushing ahead of the rest, trying to see if they can find that extra value. Texture out ahead, be grabbing that orb early again, but a three-man stack here. Got Jing, Devi, and Mind Freak ready to rumble.
Nightfall available for Lakia. He's set up for it. Now, are they ready for the close hold, though? Because the audio may not matter as much. The DK is going to be something they're looking forward to, trying to hold them, bottleneck them in tree. And so far, PRX succeeds just a bit. Devi trying to bounce back and forth. He gets sighted first, and Texture with a nice flick back around. He clears the entire site on his own alongside his trusty Boombot. And that should be a quick round for GenG as they look forward to a 6th round win. Only 2 members left alive. PRX, Bulldog, and Vandal in hand.
Yeah, gonna have to be a save now. Although Forsaken has taken a position. He's gonna try to find cheeky exit frag potentially. Something going on a bit of a lookabout. Just seeing if anybody's gonna come through there quick, see if he can get a freebie. Not gonna be given over there. Great execute from GenG on the back of that Nightfall. I mean, I like what Devi did there, where he kind of sidestepped the Boombot and was going to hold the angle, but Texture just so fast. Then the transfer over onto Mind Freak as well, absolutely nuts. He's ready for the third, and that's round over. So, I mean, we've seen it time and time again this year that Texture can pick up these big multi-kills for you and just completely turn things around, get GenG back on track, potentially make this a competitive map.
And that's something that really carried GenG forward and impressed a lot of people around the world, was that they could take turns having those moments. And very truthfully, we haven't seen too many yet here on the first map of this best of 3. But Texture will put one into the highlight reel to make sure that GenG's not out just yet. PRX not close to map point, only 10 rounds. They can't sit on their laurels yet. And there we go. The replays are coming back for Texture. Trying to loosen himself up.
Yeah, he's getting the feel of it now for sure, and that'll help.
And he's like, oh, yeah, where's that? Oh, there's the tone. Here we go. This is how we start that song. He's back in tune.
I just love Texture, man. He's so funny on camera. He's just always singing or reacting. He's a jokester. He is. It's great to see. So now you got to kind of rethink what you're doing here, because that extra space you're giving up at Rubble hasn't really worked out. It's intentional for sure from PRX, holding back, trying to see if you can, again, get these contact reactions. But the Nightfall in particular, really challenging, even with the Paranoia and all those flashes and stuff that PRX throws out. Is it enough to really stop the momentum of GenG when they're doing that execute? So now you got to rethink. I think we're going to see some more Rubble control. I think that's something that obviously worked out in their Eco round win when they had the extra advantage of having an Outlaw and a Vandal for PRX when it was just the weaker buy for GenG. So certainly you got to be thinking about that. You also got to be thinking about these alt orbs. One away from the showstopper.
Yep.
Blade Storm and the other thing not as important, but that's something you got to consider here as GenG, that, you know, the mound hit, I think this will be showstopper given over to Jing.
Yeah, get that quick and easy orb, and of course this allows you to set up Forsaken in a bit of a trap on A with the Cypher setups. Now really just trying to make sure that they cannot take over backside too easily, trying to look for the picks rather, upon the entry. Now PRX, they'll try to funnel them towards the A side. It's all going as planned, but whether they can arrive in time is the big question. Texture goes in, does he send it? The showstopper, it's not checking drop just yet. He's not wise to it at all. His teammates are going to start to funnel in. One gets seen, it's a burst, but only one, as Forsaken wonders where the double peak will be. GenG thanking their lucky stars on that one, as they haven't taken too much damage just yet. Texture holding close from heaven, but I'm not sure if he was spotted.
Clear illa.
He's hiding right behind the tungsten screen. He counts for one. That's one down. Tries to hide back into it. Jing goes way far. The showstopper not finding its target. Texture's still alive. He stabilizes for another kill. Divine bringing this short. He won't find its targets just yet. The Nanoswarm keeping them at bay, and GenG, they've got the post plants. They've got the angles. The Nanoswarm will be cleared by Jing. He's quick on that, but they have to push. They have to get kills. It's a 2v3. The spike is ticking down, and they are just getting pressured as Meteor gets yet another kill. The paint shells, but Jing only 8 HP. Gets one kill. Can he at least drop all the weapons? No, it's going to be Lakia who will get the last kill, and GenG follow up to 7.
I mean, this is, again, Texture with just positioning this time. Not just great entry, great gunplay, but just a positioning thing that isn't accounted for. That, you know, you can see on the map if you were watching, Devi sends a flash towards drop that doesn't get any contact. So then they throw the Trailblazer, but does not see Texture. They're trying to set up Jing to find that player that's a little too close that he can blast back into, get that free pick onto the Flood retake. But the one player that probably you would have liked to have knocked out of that round, left unaccounted for. Great stuff there from GenG.
Oh, and Texture finds sight of at least one, maybe both members, as he's throwing the paint shells as well. He's trying to make sure that they don't have an exit. Now baby door broken open, so they have an idea of where the exits might have happened. GenG now stabilizing as Meteor clears mound on the other side of the map. They're really spreading their control of this attacking round.
Forsaken, though, just waiting for contact off those tripwires. It looks like camera on the other side, something sliding over, but there's been no pressure at A, so now you have to kind of start to assume that maybe C might be being thought about. Spike's still in spawn for GenG, so they're trying to figure out exactly what PRX's bigger change-up after that timeout was going to be, right? The previous round was a little bit of an eco, so you expect that this is the round that really, you know, maybe there's going to be a response. Maybe there's going to be a crunch out of Baby Door or something like that, but instead, it's all towards C.
Yeah, but I love that from Devi, right? They're aware that GenG could rotate to either side, so on a timing, sends a Trailblazer. That brings Jing over just in time before the execute happens. Is 3 going to be enough for PRX? As we do see the spray coming in through the smoke. Nobody close. They 7 clear the second trip, but it's going to be something that draws the aggro first. Forsaken good for a double. Jing still alive on the site. Something trying to bounce back out as Jing flies forward, but Texture, he's just going in through aim training as all these targets fly at him. 1v2, can he get the clutch? He's already been spotted. He's going to plant with the help of the paint shells. Finds one, doesn't have time though, he has to stick the plant. Will he have it? He stops it, Devi knows, and he goes for the peak! Texture with the ace, and once again he drags GenG out from the depths of hell in this map 1.
What are you supposed to do against that? That's unfair! He's just insane! PRX does so many of the right things here. Forsaken, something, Jing, all there to try to cover for this. And yeah, he gets Forsaken. You know, Jing does a good blast pack, try to buy a little bit of bait. He gets up on top of the box. Texture's just better, and he plays this timing perfectly. Devi, you know, you kind of have to think that Devi might be trying to push you with the timing after that. Of course, he's fired up.
I mean, you see Lakia's face there too. His teammates can't believe it either. I mean, yes, he's your star player, but this is not normally Texture. And then he just chuckles it off. Just another round, just another day for the Korean duelist on GenG.
Mind-blowing. I mean, the way he plays that time at the end of it too, just absolutely brilliant. You can see Devi a little bit befuddled, not maybe expecting that last repeat, maybe not quite reading the time situation as well as he could. Maybe rethinking that one, but you know, you want to try to push him, but there just isn't enough space there. when he starts planting right before that 4 second, right? It takes 4 seconds to plant the spike. And you gotta kind of wonder, all right, what's he gonna do? All right, well, I'm just gonna try to go to a different position, I think is what Mindfreak is thinking. I'm gonna let him get the plant, and I'm gonna reposition from behind that pillar and try to go somewhere else, somewhere unexpected. Texture just reads it perfectly. Now he's up to a positive KD after that ace.
Yeah, it's been a rough going so far in Lotus, but he's back on top, and now Meteor finds a pick on C as well. That will slow things down for GenG. They know they have options. With the Cypher down, they can go anywhere. The immediate call comes out. They've been spotted, and something follows through. You have to watch out for this. PRX, when they see an opening, they will not let go. They will drag you back. But Meteor says, welcome right into my arms. 2 down with the Outlaw. Tries to peek around the boom bot, not going to find an opening. Now he's just trying to play for time as the rest of his team is creeping into the site. Guiding Light comes out. GenG has to make a decision. The call comes out to try to reinforce, but Meteor may not need any assistance as he gets another. Still only half armors on the remaining members of PRX as well.
Yeah, this is not the fight you want to be taking with just stingers in hand for PRX. So now they're going to back off and try something a little bit different, but GenG hot on their heels, opting to try to take a little bit more contact. Love these Outlaws coming out from Meteor against the ecos of PRX. Save a little bit of extra cash, able to cover the flanks really nicely with it as well. So this little adjustment for GenG, it has caused PRX quite a bit of grief.
30 seconds left.
This is just so good. They know that the Cypher was gone from C site, but instead of waiting to see if the rotates have already happened, you don't know if PRX is split or not. They decided to just deathball it into the site, playing with the advantage of numbers. 3 inside tree, Meteor holding from afar next to rubble. Mindfreak will try to cause a bit of a ruckus with the Shrouded Step. They definitely heard it through the wall, but are they aware of where he might have landed? He won't get a reaction. GenG, they are just patient. They know they are so close to trying to tie this up on Lotus, their map pick. This best of 3 in stage 1. Tapping the spike, Mindfreak recognizes the members, but Meteor's there for the flank. That's a 4K now. Outlaw picked up for Jing. He'll try to do what he can, but it's only got 1 shot left in it. He can't go for the double, and Munchkin will clean things up. That's an interaction I didn't really ever think about with the Outlaw.
Yeah.
It's a rough one for sure.
He had to gamble a bit there, right? It just did. I don't think it quite clicked with him. Or unless he's looking for the headshot, but
sure.
Yeah. I mean, still Meteor though, so good with it. 4 kills in the round for him. Getting tons of value out of that Marshall. And that gives you a little extra bank to utilize as well. Now you've got a lot of ults for both sides. Both sides of showstoppers. You have the Neural Theft and the Seekers. The Viper spent in the lockdown. So a lot of counter utility play. GenG this time going to be taking mountain control with a TP in the back.
Paranoia out, but he's not going to land the shot. Devi will stop it, and that should stop the advance from PRX entirely, as Jing will slow things down just enough for something. He's thinking about peeking out of this revolving door. Off of the Guiding Light as well. The team comms are right back in form for PRX, as they will get another round. And I do just want to let Achilles know on the desk that PRX finally got a round back once they bought the Odin. So, you know, I don't know. Causation, correlation, not quite sure where it lands, but it's there.
It is a very powerful gun in Forsaken's hand.
Wasn't exactly used at all in that round.
Didn't matter, but it was there. That's all. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jing there gets so much air.
Yes.
And then the fact that he's able to, again, nobody recovers faster from landing after blast packs than Jing. He is just unreal at his ability to stabilize his aim. It's tricky to do. Now we're going to see that Odin come into play as the door is being pushed by GenG. Forsaken somewhat aware of it, but not able to find any. You know, he found a little bit of damage on Texture, maybe. Okay, Meteor.
All right, Meteor. He's definitely had to play Jing a couple times before, but Charon goes down. So much damage done. Texture took a big chunk earlier as well. Now you wonder, is it even worth pushing for this Odin? They're going to try to draw that aggro over to the B side. This is all set up for Texture. If he can get a kill, they can immediately rotate back as well. But it's just going to be the Neural Theft, and Texture knows there's no way out. You have to push the B site. The post plant, they'll have to worry about that afterwards. They will look to push everyone out. The pit used for one side. Texture takes over Heaven. The rest all choosing to stay inside the pit. So Texture's going to have to buy a lot of time before the retake happens.
This is tricky for PRX because there's no money left for Forsaken. Got enough to buy, but He's gonna have to fork over that Odin. Jeez, he knows these angles so well.
Yeah, I mean, barely just scrapes the cap off of Raze's head. But overall, GenG, they get the read that with the Odin spam and no approach, that this might be a save. They read the credit situation here for the potential Odin. Want to do some damage. Of course, not entirely necessary. Lakia, of course, has his Nightfall as well. Other members sitting with enough to buy into the next round. So GenG will let the round pass. 10-11 score line. We'll have to take a look how this impacts the next round as Odin saved over by Forsaken.
I want to ask you, Will, did you feel like PRX was going to try that retake anyway? Like, did you have it in the back of your mind?
You know, yeah, somewhere in my mind. Until I really saw Mindfreak really sit at the other edge of the map, I'm like, well, they might.
Yeah, yeah. It's in your mind, right?
I mean, because they've done things where it's just Forsaken spamming and everyone sprints across, masking their audio. Like, they've done some crazy things with weapons they shouldn't have. So
Exactly.
You can never count them out, and I think that's why GenG was a little cautious. But now, round 22, this is going to be the big one. GenG continuing with their default opening to take over Rubble, and PRX, they want to punish it this time. It's going to be a fast push out. Meteor, he's good for one. He makes the dash go away from the other, and now the backup has arrived for GenG as well. They've cut off the forces pushing out of B main, and Meteor, if he can get that kill, if he had gotten it, the map opens up for GenG, but something will back off.
That was close for something. He's going to have just enough time to get out, but he still has no help. Everybody's leaning towards A. The raid a little bit off kilter. Finally, with that Prowler coming through, now they're starting to shift back over, and it's immediate change in direction from GenG. They're working the map so nicely.
Yes, still a full minute as well. Now, the big benefit is, of course, Cypher set up on A, and Mindfreak understands he can't give up too much space on B main. They need to get that information nice and early. And so, PRX, they will hold 2-1-1 spread out across the map. Trailblazers, they'll clear map on that timing. It's going to be the Odin pressuring, seeing if there's a reaction to smoke to help hit the tripwire. The Boombot will take the hit for that one, but the Nightfall, it's going to force Forsaken. Now, does he stick around? He tags one with the cam, makes sure that they don't approach, and that buys him just enough time to try to get away. Still no audio, and he has no idea that the rope's been taken. Busy with the reload on the Odin. Mindfreak takes over drop. Spike already planted though, and GenG set up for the post-plant. Texture with a bit of a curveball, the wild card. Something might have seen him because he catches the barrel, chases him down, and immediately swivels for a second headshot. And now it's just going to be Meteor and Munchkin, 2v2, but the health not on their side. Nanoswarm buying time. The second one has to be launched right away. It's a lot of time bought. They couldn't clear it in time. Half not done. Now switching up that position, trying to push it. They actually just get it with the spray, and if Munchkin can't get it, it's going to be Meteor, who's just buying time. Still enough for Mindfreak. He tries to turn away, but Munchkin finds a sliver of an angle. They are tied up 11-11 after what seemed an insurmountable 10-4 lead for PRX.
Yeah, I mean, PRX trying to get aggressive early, trying to see if they can win some of those duels. Something with an impressive double. Still able to get into those post-play positions, hold those angles just long enough. Trying to play a little bit of game of tap the spike and dance around his PRX, and it doesn't really fool GenG too much at all. But it's all that kind of anticipation of the pressure, dealing with it, then working the map nicely. Here we go, fast hit now out the open.
Just right through the screen for Texture to pick up a triple. PRX, they tried to adjust, and Mindfreak's holding on for dear life. If he gets a third, it's a totally different story. Now a 1v2 for Forsaken. Can he do it when PRX needs it most? The setup all the way on C site, but the lurk from Meteor, it's faster than Forsaken might expect. He has no idea, and it's going to be the kill. 12-11 map point for GenG as the crowd goes wild.
I mean, again, PRX tries to challenge a little bit sooner than they have been on this Rubble take. The Texture is so ready for it. He gets enough comfort with that initial hit, and no real bothering by the utility there. He gets ahead of the Sky Flash. The reveal from Lappy is so good. And then Mindfreak gets even deeper than GenG's ready for, so he picks up 3 huge kills, but still the round win comes from GenG, so it's either going to be map GenG or overtime forced by PRX. This attacker side for both teams has been really good, but so far GenG's maybe just slightly better, especially with this showstopper coming into Texture's hands.
Yeah, and they know PRX, they failed the fight on Rubble the previous round, so GenG just calling them out on it, trying to pressure it once again. Takes the orb as well, sees if there's a reaction. It's a classic setup, and PRX, they might have to go for a bit of a Hail Mary here. Just make sure that you stick to your guns and say that GenG, they will try to push and pull us, but they are set up on rubble. That's the current call for PRX.
And now you're worried about some kind of counter trap developed by PRX in between rounds on this A side. I think something's looking potentially to get not just a pick, but maybe get an orb as well. Get that Blade Storm going.
Nice clear on the side of Mound, though. So now PRX, they know for certain as his door is open that it's going to be an A hit. Forsaken, does he look for a timing? He creeps in. He hears the Cypher cage, but that's just bait from Munchkin. The absolute 200 IQ play baits out the Cypher. Jing trades for something, but they've already lost quite a few. Divide trying to clear the site. Spike still not planted. The showstopper will have to be used by Texture to make sure they have enough time. 3v2 for GenG. Munchkin holding from afar by Rubble. Tries to cover their bases. The showstopper sent to cover drop. Now Spike planted. Mind Freak, does he use the toxic screen against them? The smoke to see if there's a peek, but not quite just yet. Drop gonna be filled up by Jing. It's going to be a pinch from PRX. Mind Freak's creeping up, but the barrel shows as Lakia turns his head. Texture gets the kill onto Jing, and Mind Freak knows he has to get it, but not in time. And the IGL of GenG will close out an insane 13-11 map on Lotus.
It's unbelievable. And the comeback here from GenG, a determination they've had all year, that never give up attitude. So many of their games have gone to 3 maps.
I expected this.
They have played an insane amount of games already here in 2024.
Wordle. അവസാനം ഇല്ലായിരുന്നു കിട്ടാൻ. നിരുവാക്കില്ല. സ്റ്റീല്. My bad. എന്തുട്ടാ ഒക്കെ വീഡിയോ കളിച്ചിട്ട് What is this? മഞ്ഞ കളർ ഡിസ്പ്ലേ ക്യാപ്ചർ ആയതുകൊണ്ടാണ്. Playing alone.
Match found.
District.
I've got
ഈ
all the
കളിയിൽ
time in
എനിക്ക്
the world.
മരണമില്ല. സാഹി ഇഗ്നൈറ്റ്. Into the night. അയ്യോ ഐസോ ഡെഡ്ലോക്ക് ആസ്ത്രയും ഇപ്പൊ കളിക്കുന്നവര് കുറവാ. ഐസോ ഡെഡ്ലോക്ക് ആസ്ത്ര ഉണ്ട്. എന്താ ഓൺ ചെയ്യുന്നോ? ക്യാമറ ആംഗിള് മാറ്റി പിടിക്കാൻ വിചാരിക്കണ ഞാൻ കൊറേ നമ്മള് ആംഗിള് മാറിപ്പോയി. Fireflies, unlimited pieces. ഒരു സെക്കൻഡേ. ഒരു ചെറിയ ചൈറ്റ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ. ഇത് ഈ ആംഗിൾ എങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടോ? അടിച്ചു പോയോ? പോകൂല, ഇഷ്ടായില്ല. ഇതെന്ത് ചരിവ് ഇനി അത്രക്ക് ചരിവ് വരാനായിട്ടോ ചോദിച്ചില്ലല്ലോ. ഇത്രയും ചരിവ് തുടങ്ങത്തിന്റെ അംബ്രോസ് Fireflies, unlimited pieces. ഇപ്പൊ തന്നെ കളി തുടങ്ങോടെ വേഗം ചേഞ്ച്. കേസ് ഇപ്പൊ ഇത്രയും കിട്ടണൂല. അടിച്ചു പോയാ സ്ട്രീം ഇടണോണ്ടാണോ? എന്ത് ഇത്രയും കുറവ് കിട്ടണ?
Refreshing. Reloading. No peeking. Here, catch.
അടിച്ചു പോയാ റീസെറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ ടൈമായി.
Have a kit. Reloading. I'm out of here. Drop in a smoke.
Lag is real.
New stage in 3.
Hi, bye.
ഇതെന്തോ എനിക്ക് 60 FPS വെച്ചിട്ടില്ല.
No charges.
റീസെറ്റ് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു.
Here, catch. Not ready yet. I shot something. Gotta go.
സ്മോക്ക് ഇടാൻ ഞാൻ മറന്നുപോയി എങ്ങനെയാണ്.
Shocking.
Headshot.
No peeking.
My ult's ready.
Target down. I've one of these.
എന്താ ഇവിടെ എന്തിനാ
I'm out of here. That's 3. Drop in a smoke. Reloading. 4 in the dark. Back off. What? I'm out of here.
25 FPS ഒക്കെ കിട്ടുന്ന.
I want of these.
My potter pro.
It's you and me.
You're done.
Go away.
Dizzy's up. Somebody there.
Seconds until
Refreshing.
Reloading.
എന്ത് പറയാൻ
No peeking.
FPS ഇല്ലാണ്ടാവണേ.
They're dead.
മറ്റേ ടൈമായി സെറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് പോയതായി. Valorant വരണം.
Here, catch. Woo!
Good, cuate.
anyone else? Charge your ult.
Crash is ready. No peeking. That's a kill. My ult is ready. Back like I never left. I've one of these. What's your wish? Refreshing.
Reloading.
4 in the dark.
Dominating. My potter broke.
Bye-bye. My ult's ready.
Die.
Watch out!
Ultimate orb spawning.
That's a kill. Get out of my way! My territory, my rules! Have one of these!
Get him, wingman.
Go, go, go!
They shot my wingman.
അവൻ എന്നെ സ്പേസുകളോട് മാത്രം അടിക്കുന്നതാ. അവന്റെ അടുത്ത് ചെല്ലുമ്പോ ഞാൻ കിടന്ന് മറിക്കും.
It's you and me.
എന്തിലാകടാ Oh, this is bad. ടർബോലല്ലേ ശരിക്കും കിടക്കണ്ടേ? Display capture.
The trades are much better for PRX when they swing around towards the box. Able to get some nice kills, able to lock it down, but it's been very chaotic so far. Obviously, we haven't seen Icebox from PRX in quite some time. This push out Forsaken, good for one, and out we go. Munchkin is nuts. How is he always so good with these guns? He's one taps.
Especially on Icebox as well, right? There's something about him. Turns that switch on. Tries to stabilize a 4v4. Texture will recover that weapon now, and that could be the deal breaker. But no, GenG just shuts down right away. And GenG, despite having a 3-1 lead, of course, the econ very low. Munchkin gets the kill from afar as we see extra damage coming in from Karon with the right click. Now just trying to retake some space, but with the rifle recovered, when does GenG call for the save? Try to bank up some econ once again. He's ready for it. Sees the leg! And he will swing right back, trying to clear both corners at the same time. That might be the opening they needed. Karon eventually goes down. Munchkin, does he get the call that someone's close? Might have caught a glimpse of him, and he's going to get 4 on for the ace. But he needs to defuse the spike as well. Not sure about the position, waiting for Divai, who's oftentimes lurking, but not going to find him just yet. Divai will tease him with the timer. Munchkin just wants to take away the weapons one last time. But Divai will secure the round. 2-3 for PRX.
I mean, what a round for Munchkin, though. Yeah, you get the win as PRX, but you don't get much else. Lose a lot of players. In fact, Divai even goes down to the spike there at the end, so this is a great opener. But Munchkin's just so good. That's a nasty shot. Jing there using that wall to get up top. And just barely, they're able to get through it. Jing, when they used to play this map 2 years ago, was playing on the Sage a lot, so kind of going back into that comfort pick here for PRX. No Divai on Chamber. I was kind of curious to see if we were going to get to see a repeat of it, but certainly in this current meta, Killjoy able to claim so much space, especially on your defender side. Keep so much information under your controls. Meteor going to be the Killjoy on the B site.
Yeah,
Be
just
tasked with that.
holding with that util. That allows GenG to go for their defaults once again. Push out A, take the orb, and immediately they'll reset to mid this time for a fast rotate to either site. Texture holding A with the op. It's going to be the Nano Swarms. And the null command comes through though, so it's not going to be allowing the Killjoy to hold on to the site any longer. Meteor actually backs out just to hold an angle, sees the gun barrel. The spike will get planted, but it's going to be GenG, who already has so much space and a numbers advantage, 4v3. Now the alarm bot goes off. They know that they're still bouncing around the entry from green into the site. Yellow not cleared yet for GenG. All of them grouped up. The paranoia goes all the way through. Should have hit something, but they can't find him right around the edge just yet. And Meteor, he's still running and gunning when he swings around. Something will barely get that kill with 28 HP. The snake bite clears it right at the end and the pit, but it's right up against the wall. The spike should be easy to spam through. Little bro tries to go for it, and Lakia swings out to assist the little bro, and it's going to be Wingman going for the defuse once again, 4-2.
I mean, so much damage done on the way in by PRX. They don't have much for this post plant, so they're going to send Devi on alert. He actually does find a kill, but by the time he gets there, the pit's already in. What are you going to do against this? And it makes it so challenging for them. Okay, you get the 1-for-1 trade earlier. Meteor, great positioning, great footwork. And then Devi feels like he has to go for it. Had the lockdown, didn't really have time to commit it. Able to hold on is GenG, finding their 4th round win. Now you've got a ton of ults available for PRX. Going to set up for kind of a stabilization, seeing if they can maybe get that lockdown into play right around the corner. Texture watching for that belt player.
And the jump peaks trying to come in for Jing. Not sure if they quite spotted him clearly just yet. Might have gotten a ping on the mini-map. But at the end of the day, not able to take too much space. It's going to be the null command used as well, and Munchkin actually moves away. They're just, they're trying to just empty A site and see if they bite on the side of PRX. Lakia hiding by the smoke. He catches the side of the blade storm, and Lakia wants none of that from something. Obviously one of his debut highlights here on Icebox itself. Munchkin ready with a flash drive and the Dizzy. The double flash is being prepared. Can they clear out the lockdown? The lineup, is it going to land? And it should just be able to clear that lockdown out, but still so much utility used by PRX. GenG will respect it. Paranoia early to retake the site. Something should be wary of this. The Wingman clears the corner, and Lakia swinging around already. Gets one kill off the top of Nest, and that's the forward position for PRX cleared out. Forsaken now wrapping around. They want to protect the pit, and it's going to be an all-out brawl right outside the pit as we see GenG continuing to get the kills. Forsaken not able to pick up an upgrade to the weapon. Only Mind Freak left, spiked down outside of his comfort zone. And it will be defended by all 3 members of GenG. Hail Mary push out as the pit goes down, trying to recover it, trying to isolate the members. But Lakia is still around the corner, no time left. And it will be the round for GenG as Mind Freak will get a consolation kill onto Lakia.
It's everything in the kitchen sink thrown at this round by PRX. And they still can't get over the line. They still can't get that win. Perfect placement on that frag bet by Munchkin on the lockdown. That's a tough one to get sometimes because it has to land so perfectly because there's only a small circle that the fragment can clear just by itself on that lockdown that's right next to where it lands. So really nicely done by him to get that. Having just a phenomenal map for GenG is Munchkin in so many different ways. Setting him up really nicely there. And certainly Alex trying to get them back on track. But with all those ultimates used there, Will, now you start to worry about PRX because even in a round where you feel like you've got that opportunity, you can get that pit down, you can use that lockdown, okay, it gets cleared, so what? You have the Blade Storm, you have everything you need to get a thrifty win, but it doesn't come through. GenG's just too good right now, controlling the edges. I think Forsaken gets a little greedy, trying to go for that rifle up on top of Nest there. I mean, I get why he did it, but that costs them, you know, maybe it's safer to just play in the pit at that point, make sure you get the plant.
Yeah, I thought he had a moment, but of course, I mean, this is something that PRX is so good at in the first map on Lotus, was recognizing that GenG will also never let go of the pedal once the fight starts. The trades always continuing to flow in. But as you mentioned, the ult's gone, but it's going to be a force up into the rifles, only a Sheriff for Forsaken on the side of PRX. Meanwhile, Charon still happy to pick up the judge here, as we've seen that PRX is going to keep up the pace to 11. Really push the sights in. That's going to be the trap play set up here on green. Mosh used to push him back, allows Karon to set up close by the door. Forsaken caught a glimpse of it on that jump, but not quite the weapon just yet.
He's just going to be holding that angle. Actually, he's going to try to push it.
Oh
This
no,
is so
the pop
dangerous.
flash.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and he baits out the weapon sound as well. So gets the information he wants. Meanwhile, Mindfreak was already all the way up tube. Meteor takes a bit of a hit. Divide there. They didn't quite suspect two members in mid already. Munchkin wanted to get him on the exit. And that gives PaperX the idea to try to push back up. Meteor's wise to it though. Dwindles down the numbers, and Mindfreak now another curveball going under tube. Planting Forsaken back in tube as well. PaperX, they're continuing to keep control of mid. Nano Swarm used to allow for Lakia to hold a little bit safer on the side of yellow. Resurrection by Jing.
Yeah, and you got to be real careful here as Lakia. You have a Thrash, so you're a real big piece of this puzzle.
Well,
never
as
mind.
you say that, the caster Chris strikes, and he'll go down without much of a fight. And PaperX now have control of this site, but Meteor trying to defend his own lockdown with his life. Can anyone get here to make sure that it's going to be PaperX trapped into this texture? Will clear the enemies, but something pushes out just in time. Kitchen taken over by Devi. And Texture, it's too many angles for him to try to clear with an operator, but he's still going to go for it. Already posted up in Snowman. Doesn't catch something up top. Doesn't catch anybody else up top either, and Devi will swing out on a timing. Take Texture with a headshot, and that's going to be the operator in something's hands.
Yeah, showing us quite a different look after this. Putting some mid-pressure for PaperX. They're able to get a trade. Meteor with a good frag there on a Devi after he got the kill on a Munchkin, but it's a good little bait and switch there with that lockdown, knowing that the operator is there to cover it. Meteor aware that they're going to have to try to push that angle, at least able to take a couple down with him, but at the end of the day, the numbers advantage too strong. Not exactly sure what happened with Lakia behind yellow, but he got taken down quickly by Mindfreak. It's a big piece of that ult puzzle. That was taken down, and immediately a counter timeout for GenG.
Yeah.
Trying to see if they can reassess what's going on. What they see that they didn't like in that round, maybe it's the mid something where they tried to challenge it.
And it has to be something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
Just about the recognition of the potential trades, perhaps getting, maybe just too drawn out by PaperX's initiative around mid. I mean, of course, if you can fully control mid, it's a great area here in Icebox, but generally, oftentimes, it's one of the least looked upon areas because it's so hard to get full control, right? If you can still hold on to Kitchen, something like that, on the defense, GenG might be enough for that. So just saying, perhaps talking about not getting wrapped up in the tempo of PaperX.
Yeah, there's so many angles you got to worry about there. PaperX didn't really invest much in the way of smokes to cover those angles. They just kind of took that space and worked with it because they're just that confident, that good, that everybody's going to be kind of holding the proper space. Devi tries to push up tube, and Meteor so stalwart in his defense time and time again on this Killjoy. Now something going to be with the operator of his own. He tries to challenge off that snake bite.
I think a lot more health damage.
It's K. Jing can heal.
Yeah, that's true. That armor gone forever, though. We'll see. It's going to be Sheriff's nonetheless, so GenG just going to have to look for headshots. This is all really, once again, a trap play, and we've seen GenG rely on this every now and then if they wanted to throw a curveball. They're actually just going to try to swing out. They don't want to let PaperX approach. They know PaperX would check the corners, but they won't find the kills. And it's an attempt from GenG, but it's going to fall flat as there is the aggro drawn by something. Great teamwork from PaperX. Wall goes up, spike goes down. And that should be the round as Munchkin sitting solo close to the wall with a Sheriff. See if he can get a cheeky kill or two.
Hoping that maybe Jing is going to go up the rope and get a freebie.
Restraint from PaperX. A rare breed indeed. Oh my gosh. Attempted the 3K. Attempted it for sure.
Why not, right? Like, you might as well go big or go home there. You know you're probably dead eventually.
Yeah.
See if you can just take away from PaperX as much as possible. A change in angle there, force something. And the player on his left switched over to the right. And the bait setting up Forsaken. Get that second kill. Really nicely done by PaperX, but now operator invested for Texture again. Couple half armors here and there. Thrash still going to be in Lakia's pocket. Forsaken has a null command though, so let's see exactly how PaperX wants to play this.
Slow orb to make sure that anyone on pipes are not going to be able to peek out too easily. The 0 point should tag Lakia as well. So in a little bit of trouble. No command immediately to make sure that there is no utility for backup. And Lakia trying to make sure he goes for the anti-flash. They actually just don't check it up top. Munchkin draws the aggro first, and it's going to be 3 members down on the side of PRX. GenG only taking damage on the side of their Gecko. So that takes away the Thrash, but it's going to be enough for the rest of GenG to clear out a site and take another round win.
Yeah, it's just a player unaccounted for there. PRX just keen on trying to get past 410 and see what they can do, but just shut right down by GenG. I don't know what else to say about that. That one angle unaccounted for can swing around real quickly. That's going to be one of these cases. Great job by Munchkin playing that angle very nicely. Yeah, that's just a shutdown from there. So much you can say other than oops, we forgot to check pipes.
We'll have to remember that one. Now something going back to what worked a couple rounds ago, just pressuring mid, trying to draw out some of that pressure on the side of the map. But they'll still have to deal with Texture's operator if they choose to go B. As we can see on the mini-map, Texture trying to decide which angle to hold, trying to back out further towards Snowman. As GenG's made the decision, they're just going to hold near boiler, near mid, make sure that they're ready for a flood on either side.
Thrash going to be used to check mid, and it's not going to find anything, so right back towards Lakia's hands it will go. Just Devi, the lone lurker, all 4 other members of PRX.
Oh, this angle.
Yeah, Texture kind of aware that something loves to swing out wide here on yellow. You see it all the time.
Oh, Texture's waiting for it, but he won't find the kill just yet. He will get pressure with the fragment as well. Now, the spike absolutely getting planted with the pit as well. What's the answer? Is there still alert from Devi on the A side? See if that finds a good timing on the side of PRX. Meteor sitting in the pit, waiting for his teammates to pressure everyone else out as Karon has eyes on the Killjoy. Kept him locked up in mid, and now GenG, they go for the retake. The Thrash comes out, trying to funnel everybody out of the pit. It's going to go land with the Paranoia out as well. Did they even hear the defuse with the Paranoia? Not quite sure. And now it's going to be PRX who has to flood the pit itself, but it's going to be the defuse that already goes through. Not aware of the half being done. PRX lose absolute control of their own Viper's pit.
What I'm curious about here for PRX is the whole time, Devi is just watching from spawn down mid to see, if there's any lurks or any flanks or anything like that, but it's never even attempted. Util just so good for GenG that they're able to clear the pit enough. Meteor just sneaking in there right behind that box, able to take a little extra space just in case when those taps start coming through that he's able to play from an unexpected angle. But PRX there showing a little bit of some of that rust, some of that lack of coordination, with Jing coming back into the roster. Karon, oh boy.
It's going to be a lot, and they check the corner, but not quickly enough as Karon gets 2, and that should be enough to slow things down. Paranoia keeps Jing at bay. Lakia already under tube. Wingman clearing close, but Texture goes down from afar. Mind Freak will equalize the numbers. Meteor picks right up where Texture left off, and Jing has to heal. They should be aware. The resurrection comes in, and Devi tries to go for the trade, but it's a double stack. Lakia and Munchkin will clean things up, leading 8-4 at the half for GenG.
Yeah, trying to use the res as bait there, but it doesn't fool them at all. Munchkin too crisp, too clean. With a slightly different look for GenG. Even not on the jet. Texture able to find a bit of impact. But really, this is like Munchkin and Meteor just shutting these rounds down. Lakia maybe not able to find as much impact as you'd like, but still good information control. Making sure they're checking mid, making sure that they're being a little bit more diligent about one of the few rounds that caused them a little bit of damage. Otherwise, you can see PRX looking a little bit dejected after that first half.
I mean, so many stinger buys as well, right? But not much fruition from them. The idea is there. Sure, you have a sage wall as well. You can force the plant. You can cause some close quarters combat to go crazy, but not quite seeing it. Lots of parents bringing their kids to watch some Valorant as well, as Valorant's really been taking over kind of the younger generation here in Korea. Of course, with all the Korean teams playing tonight, a lot of fans out in the audience.
Yes, it was getting raucous in the crowd when GenG started stringing those rounds together on Lotus. Those Texture aces certainly lit them afire.
I mean, surely a round like that, everyone around the world, right? No matter who you're cheering for. some good Valorant, but Lotus, both teams really swinging at it, whereas this time, PRX still have to find their footing again after the reset at the half. They'll look for the defense. Killjoy set up on A, a triple stack on B. Could even go for the Sage Wall on the Ult Orb, something like that. We'll see what type of control they want. 0 point at the ready for Forsaken from mid.
Well, it's going to be kind of very similar again. Both teams kind of nearing each other in their pistol rounds, just like we saw in Lotus. So GenG going to get the site for free. Can they kind of turn the tables? Last time it was the defenders who were able to get this, but it's a much faster retake attempt here. PRX already finding one. Munchkin down, the trade from Mindfreak as well.
Yeah, the flank coming in very fast. GenG wasn't quite ready for that. They were peeking out, but it seems that they were a little bit caught off guard. But a good angle from Texture. He'll still alive with 27 HP. See if that's the deal breaker as Charon swinging around. He finds one. Lakia's going to pick up the kill. Goes for the trade there, and Jing, everyone solo. Mindfreak's actually going to pick up the headshot onto two. Lakia and Charon goes down. Texture still at 27 HP. Devi at 89.
Oh my
he gets
God.
spotted up top. Texture, hear the drop, but he can't land the headshot as there's a slight ramp down. And Devi will get the kill and the defuse.
Yeah, as much as the beginning part of that round looked kind of similar, it was a much faster retake from PRX. As soon as that spike started going down, they were just like, all right, let's go. Let's do it. The late flank there from Mindfreak catches a ton of value. Once again, having a phenomenal map. I mean, even though day hasn't gone PRX's way so far,
ഞെട്ടിട്ടാകുമ്പോ ബാക്കി കളി നോക്കാം.
Devi able to just get enough in there and just a yip.
Yeah, Devi's been very calm today. It's all
Yeah.
been yips and uh-huhs and all the way through on the replays. Obviously, I mean, not too much to cheer for yet for PRX. They got close, but no cigar on map 1. And now, quite a few rounds to string together if they want to get back the lead on Icebox.
No force buy from GenG. So things kind of looking a little bit more normal. But Munchkin, these tricky positions, are they going to be accounted for? He gets hit through the
Grating,
the grate of that fence.
Just barely stays alive. Had to go for the left clicks as the right clicks also would have just hit the grate as well. But it's going to be Mindfreak. Swings out, well aware of the lurk-in from Meteor. And Wingman not even going to get the plan, and it looks like GenG perhaps losing a lot of that value. Texture will pick up a kill. Mindfreak not quite aware of Charon's position. Nice to regain a bit of an angle. Texture gets another at long range around the poison cloud. It's a swing out from Charon. He waited so patiently, and he's able to try to hold control of the site. And Texture with 30 on the Sheriff makes the crowd go wild once again after a few quiet rounds.
It's brutal. PRX just, I noticed that on the other side of the coin, they were being a little bit more diligent about checking for some of those cheeky positions that Munchkin might take. Like, if you give up A space early, you know, we saw this at Masters Madrid where Munchkin would push right towards your nest and push underneath belt. This time around, he hides a position that does a ton of damage, but the other end, it's those Sheriffs singing their song for Meteor and Texture, doing a ton of damage. And yeah, just sneaky positions, something that GenG has been so good at on this map, using just those little micro timings to get ahead of your information, and it costs dearly for PRX. We're now in Sheriffs of their own, couple rifles for GenG, a Spectre and a Bulldog as well. So now PRX just trying to see if they can guess correctly where this is going to go. GenG's been very quiet, very slow.
Stack is there. All the Sheriffs, like you mentioned. 3 already on Heaven, 2 by Boiler. They should be a quick backup as well. Flash drives at the ready, so is the frag when the toxic screen comes down. They were waiting for this moment. Devi picks off one, and GenG, they might have to reconsider things as Wingman will go in for the plant. But is that just enough? No, Lakia can't get the spray down through the toxic screen. Something will pick off the kill. Now Nano Swarms at the ready. But PRX, they're ready to push things out. Going to be the Cloudburst, try to draw out a reaction. There's the Sage Wall, they have to break that quickly, but the swing of the wide swing, something, once again, the Crosshair Magnet works its magic, and that's all the time Forsaken needs for the defuse. PRX answer right back with a thrifty.
Yes. We're right back to kickoff. Both teams just kind of thrifting each other all over the place. I mean, this again, these timed retakes from PRX where they're going to wait for you to start getting into position. position, and that's when they strike. And it makes it so difficult to recover because they're happy to play these scrappy games. They're happy to play like trust in your own instincts, trust in your own reaction type gameplay. A lot of other teams are thrown off by it. You can see this time, GenG's done a pretty good job overall handling it, but this time does get the better of them with those guns. So now Thrash going to be used early by Lakia. Get a little, and it does get the detain onto Mind Freak. He has no help.
Yeah, they're trying to chase through with the Shrouded Step as well, and Texture barely lands in time to get that kill. Mind Freak, all he could do was turn around and crawl away for his life, crying for help. But help was too far. Now Mosh at the ready, so is the Paranoia. It's a brutal trade though. 2 for 2. Now from the shadows, they recognize that everyone is here. Meteor already through Tube. Does he sense anyone right under him? Don't think they would have heard him just yet. It's going to be, I look at the positions. I mean, Lakia holding way deep in attacker spawn. And Meteor trying to hold on to mid. Now hasn't quite checked out the window just yet. Forsaken and him. They will, okay, now they'll be aware of each other. Lakia catches one. The 0 point, meanwhile, pushes Meteor away from Kitchen. And Forsaken, now he has to find the remaining members. He has to clear them out. He gets one onto Lakia. He's looking up above Tube. But now with Texture already out of the sight, Meteor, no reason to rush it. They're just going to force him away from the spike.
Forsaken going to try to tuck into the garage area, and we'll get there. But the real question is he going to be hunted down? Still a little bit of time. Ping's coming down for GenG. Shots ring out. Forsaken knows that Meteor's over there. And knows that he has to be tucked behind that bridge. Gonna watch it. The turret coming out, though not gonna be able to find the kill. I love what GenG does on this round. First of all, they read that there's just gonna be potentially just a solo player holding down that B site. A lot of attention being paid towards A by PRX so far. So they're able to use that Thrash to make sure, excuse me, the Thrash to get that pick. And then it's just, they read the rest of the map so incredibly well. They're trading, and then they see, oh, there's only 2. We have an Omenal. Over to A we go. And then from there, there's just no hope for PRX. They're trying to do what they can, but
holds on to the entire map, right? Just to spread out. Normally, we kind of speak against that, obviously trying to stick to numbers, but just understanding how much the PRX would have to clear to approach the retake. Now GenG pressuring A site once again, and this time PRX, it's a reactionary round. They try to go for a spread out 2-1-2 default. Now scrambling towards A. GenG though, no lurk, just a turret to watch their flank. So they don't have too many options to rotate out no matter how much time is left. Just going to be a set execute, but an immediate clearance of all the utility makes him think twice about this one. The Paranoia to allow Texture to dive in with the Shrouded Step. He's already under, but he gets spotted. The slow arm keeps him tied up. He will go for the trade for Forsaken with a quick double, and another from Devi and Jing each. It's going to be a perfect defense for PRX as they hold on to 3 members.
Well, now you can see kind of part of the game plan here for PRX. Understanding, yes, we talked about the fact that they're really good at finding these timings when GenG wants to make their executes and shutting them down. You're seeing it here again. But part of that is also because of the fact there's no jet. It makes it a lot harder for GenG to take space here, and PRX has recognized that, and they're shutting it down. They're hitting them at the point of attack, knowing that GenG has to rely on those util dumps. You called it. They're clearing a lot of that utility when it comes out and sidestepping it, taking really good angles, really good crossfires, making it really tricky for GenG. So GenG, they want to start thinking more about this B site, more about using some of their utility to clear these angles. Ooh. See if they can get a plant down. Devi does find one towards mid. A lurking Meteor accounted for.
Yeah, Lakia took a hit through his own Dizzy as well. Forsaken still holding on. Wasn't quite ready for Texture to swing out, but he will get out safely. Jing finds the lurking Munchkin. PRX starting to get a pulse onto the opponents and their abilities to rotate and lurk. Now
stuck in that garage area.
Yeah, not much to do on this round. Just trying to see if the opponents approach them for a couple cheeky kills like that.
Well, they're just trying to dodge all that fire, but eventually Jing is going to find him. Lakia down, only on Texture. Did pick up a Phantom in the midst of all of this, but with 61 HP. Not looking ideal, and turns just at the last second. Mind Freak good for the final kill. It's PRX up to 8, starting to catch up towards GenG.
Oh, we've seen this before already tonight. We'll see if PRX can make the same magic happen. We've had a lot of PRX fans visiting for their games even since last year. Try to get that side of the arena. Bearing up up a little bit of that energy, get them something to cheer for, as they're now only 2 rounds away to tie things up. Trying to make this go to a map 3 unbind.
Look at that green bar of ultimates.
Yep.
That's so scary now as GenG, you finally get into a buy round. There's so much available. They're just going to go.
Oh, it's the wall love. I've been waiting for something like this. PRX, there's never just a clean game of Sage. It's always something tricky, and it's just a push out across the entire map. This GenG just dropped like flies all near their spawn, never able to leave home.
PRX coming back. What is happening?
You only have to use one ult there. That's the res. You get your gun back. You keep
What
your
is happening?
Great for PRX.
I mean, they can do the same thing with the null command this time and res him up again.
Exactly. Why not? She got reses for days as PRX. I mean, it's just crazy what they do sometimes, man. I mean, I'm just like trying to like talk about what happened previously, and I'm like, forget it. They're just gonna rush them.
I mean, yeah, this is just a tempo change, right? Catches GenG entirely off guard. I mean, probably something that GenG thought about at the start of the map, but the fact that it has not happened at all the way up to round 19, makes him a little lax, and that's when PRX strikes. The boost up, the elevator.
It's just such great timing, great thought processes that PRX is able to figure out. I mean, you see this all the time with PRX. They lose a map or they go down early in a map, and something changes inside of them. Just the team in general, their thought processes, their mindset, they're so unflappable is PRX that they're still in the game and they're not getting overheated, in the traditional sense where they're starting to push. They find the right timing for these pushes, and they can make them work because of how good they are. They've got these plays in the back pocket that can start to change the momentum without needing a timeout or anything like that. These ideas that Forsaken, typically the ideas, calling some of the bigger idea picture plays, has in his mind that they've worked in a short amount of time. They haven't had a ton of time to practice Icebox, just a couple days.
Yeah, and it's just going to be the early pit as well this time. Right outside of Pipes, doesn't want to risk that pit getting caught. So making sure that he denies the entry point, gets the high-low as well, and that allows Mindfreak to set up the toxic screen for his teammates here. And it looks like there's a cheeky Sage wall going on somewhere near the B nest.
Everybody's here.
Oh, the flash gets a big tag. Now just going to be a hold here onto the B site. Now with the pit up in A, unless GenG takes over some part of mid for a pinch, not going to have too many options.
Yeah, they're trying to get to the corner so they can get the Viper's pin down.
The crowd instead gets spotted before the flash. A bit of a mismatch. This is not something we used to see from GenG in the beginning of the year. But now with the Omen in the mix, they haven't quite cleaned up the timings just yet. And PRX will punish that mistake like there's no tomorrow. Wingman trying to get the tag, but it's just way too late. He will do his best something impersonation, but it doesn't end with a kill. As we see Meteor, last one alive, not able to land it onto Jing.
PRX is starting to read the map really GenG isn't having success on A, so they're going to start moving their attention over the
What's the game?
A lot of control over that space, and they use it nicely, but GenG never really shows any other look. They're able to just kind of plant their feet here. The flash came just a little bit too late, perhaps, from Munchkin, and Texture wasn't able to get through that from the shadows correctly in time. Or somebody of him as he got flashed, was able to get the kill. So you're also maybe seeing a little bit of this new comp change for GenG, kind of showing a little bit of polish that is lacking. Oh my god.
Yeah, something just looking for an early pick. Now, PRX, they should be wary of this. They've already pushed him out of B. Won't quite finish a kill here. Charon down to 5 HP. As GenG, they will still relentlessly try to go forward with this. Wingman getting spammed through the wall. He cannot finish the plan. The lockdown already committed from GenG, but PRX has slowed down the onslaught. And GenG, they will have to recover the spike and still battle through this retake, along with a lockdown, a potential no command, everything in the arsenal of PRX, and it's going to be the classic aggro draw as Forsaken gets the trade, swings out for a third, and he goes for a fourth, and that is
classic aggro draw
over the lead for the first time here on Icebox.
I just love the quickness that PRX makes decisions to do things. They stick around a little bit for the lockdown. They don't have the fragment to clear it, so they're just looking for a few picks and other things. They get those, they back off. As soon as it's done, it's down. you know, it's just going to be something charging through and Forsaken immediately holding another angle off the different direction. Protocols there so good for PRX on this retake. Everybody looking where they need to, doing the right things at the right time. Don't even have to
round
lockdown.
round
They were able to hold on to it, so they've still got it. They've still got a no command. Something's got a Blade Storm. Maybe if he wants to stew into an off. I'm a bit surprised. Haven't seen one here with all this extra money, but you don't need it.
Yeah, might have even heard that one. Texture trying to scout it out, but something just no. Now the flash used for Forsaken to
fall back. Nice. 3v5, no throw. Nice. 2v5. Okay. 3v2. What is happening? Throwing. They are throwing. 5 round throw ചെയ്യാൻ തുടങ്ങി. ഇതേ അടുത്തത്. വേണ്ട. No. 1 HP on low.
Munchkin takes a lot of hits for his trouble.
Yeah, and they're going to try to split the map, see if they can confuse PRX, but PRX is fully committed towards A, especially with that knife there. That's got to be your thought that it's going to be that. Now the Thrash on the other side, so you're thoroughly confused as PRX to which side of the map this is actually going to be. You do get the detain onto Forsaken. Going to use the Dizzy as well to check if he has any cover, but Jing is just arriving through Kitchen.
Yeah, they weren't able to capitalize on that kill just yet, so that means Munchkin,
ഇനി തോറ്റ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ
for his teammate, trying to make sure that they have a bit of a numbers advantage. Now to capitalize on that, and now it's all up to Wingman. The swing off of the flash drive. Jing not able to stop the plant. This might be the best chance that GenG has had. The drop, the quite check for Lakia, looking for another. Can he get a second? No, and it's going to be Jing and Forsaken. The duo, they're going to be able to bring home PRX right up to a map point.
I already thought maybe that was going to be the round when you lose that lockdown, that maybe GenG's going to be able to hang on, but PRX's gunplay so on point. Something now getting aggressive on B, something we haven't seen from PRX yet. Now they're starting to get really deep into their playbook. You're starting to see why they like this map. This defender side has been nearly flawless for them, just a couple rounds dropped. Now that Operator is in hand, Blade Storm in the back, still the lockdown, the no command available. Forsaken have a whale of a map, both KOs really showing up, especially on their defender side. You're going to leave Jing, the lone man on A with some of that KJ utility to bail on. Oh, excuse me, I just saw something now.
Oh yeah, doubled up.
I didn't see that earlier. He was buried underneath Jing's icon on the map.
I mean, they are oftentimes all stacked up against each other, waiting for the trades. So we shall see. Lockdown and no command, still in the pockets of PRX. Like you mentioned, something now peeking out. Jing covering him for any peeks out from Belt. So A side secured for PRX. A solid 2-1-2 default as it's just going to Forsaken. Going for a jiggle. Now calls for backup. Device still watching mid for the team. The Poison Cloud not activated yet from Charon.
Util dump coming through. Still have that Viper's pit. Yeah, let's see if they can get it down this time. Buy a little bit of extra space. Mind Freak re-aggressing.
Yeah, and he's trying to hold close. He doesn't want this pit to come up. He wants to strike when the iron is hot, and he'll try to swing out. They're trying to make sure that GenG dumps all their util before they're able to do anything. Forsaken trying to go for a long-range trade, but it's going to be GenG who still just wins out in the numbers. More angles covered. The smoke eventually dissipates. There is the jump up onto the wall. Malakia eventually gets the spike down. Now something trying to join Jing in the verticality. As we see it from the shadows from Texture. Lands all the way behind PRX, and they have to jump into the smokes as Lakia sprays down for 2. It's all up to something, and with the Blade Storm, it's going to be so tough to try to around, and Charon will answer back. We still go yet another round.
These cheeky positions, both teams just finding these nooks to hide in. This time they're going to use a smoke to cover Lakia's spot. Device just bunny hopping through there. Jing's like, okay, this is safe. I'm just going to drop down. And all of a sudden, that's 2 members down. Pushing through on the site here. Charon find that angle. Able to get that trade. Big part of GenG's gameplay is other teams have been talking about it in some of their interviews when you face GenG is that it feels like there's always another player there. There's always that trade. Everybody's working off each other so well. It's a big part of why they've been as successful as they have. Starting to take some space. Something not going to invest in that up. Not quite enough money in the bank. guess. Well, they could have done it, but they didn't. They didn't opt to. I look at it.
Choosing the mobility, it seems, throughout this entire map. It's going to be the site execute once again. PRX, are they ready for the 5-stack? It looks like it. Slow Orb keeping them at bay. The null command used as well. They still have a lockdown for a potential retake or another push back out that gives Mind Freak the opportunity now to cover for mid. They don't see anything yet. A ping comes out on the B side for GenG. They have all the intention to rotate over. Now with the poison cloud going up, Mind Freak, it's his job to hold the line. One nano swarm to disrupt any type of plant. The null command coming out, but it's not going to be catching the killjoy just yet. Forsaken takes down the KO, and Mind Freak just trying to drag this fight out as long as possible. A wide swing from Texture, but Jing gets yet another kill. It's going to be the long-range hold from something, and now it's all down to Texture as Jing takes him down. 13-11 once again, but on the other side is PRX. They finally answer for their own nightmares on Icebox, pick up a victory, and take us on to Bind.
And on Icebox of all maps, I mean, I think PRX, just trying to limit test a little bit here on this map, just seeing what they're truly capable of. And yeah, the attacker side has some things to be desired, but this defender side was nearly immaculate. I mean, so many good decisions, so much disruption of GenG's timings on their executes, things like that made it really, really tough. And it seemed like every time that GenG maybe had finally found a little bit of extra idea, it was countered the next round by PRX.
Well, PRX, after 8 bans in Icebox in 2024, the first time they pick it, they'll bring home the victory. Let's take it to the desk to break down how it all went down.
How it all went down? We almost thought it was over. We almost thought it was going to be a 2-0, and then PRX finally start showing some of their crazy harebrained ideas and how much anti-stratting that they did, especially on the defender side. And yes, this is the PRX bundle, also by the GenG bundle. Anyway, we're going to a third map, Achilleos.
No, we are. And I mean, we were kind of talking about it, that this is what we wanted. Just given these two teams, we wanted to see as much as humanly possible. Things look a lot rougher than I've anticipated, I think, going into that Icebox for GenG. Struggling, a minor attack, a chance of trying to extend that into that overtime, but just barely falling shy of the mark there. Felt like a little bit of a, I don't know, just a change up. And I do question a little bit now, Texture getting shifted over onto this Omen. It's the first time that he's ever played it. First time he's ever played any controller, mind you, in his career. He just has never done that before. No. And while I think overall it was okay, having the impact from him on a duelist was something that felt like it was very much lacking.
They need that dive capability, right? Especially on the attacking side. But on defense, they were quite able to kind of, disturb PRX's hits very, very often. Every time PRX tries to dive right in, you got something going through. He's right up there. Texture is able to throw out the Paranoia, Lakia with the Gecko Dizzy, of course, and it's just that's much more difficult for PRX on the attacking half. That's why they ended in a 4 and 8. And there were so many of these moments where sometimes PRX were just trying to rush in, going with that aggression, but corners weren't quite checked. It's only down to the second half where, I mean, yes, GenG were still able to come up with some pretty good rounds. They actually won the subsequent round after the pistol. However,
dropped it immediately.
Credit to PRX. I think what was cool is, you started to see some of these set plays, some of these ideas where Jing makes use of the wall, that one round in round 18, I believe, where the whole team just rushes down A belt.
There was some absolute insanity. I mean, having it like a tiles crunch basically on Icebox A is just. That's the PRX creativity that we've come to know and love. Just, all right, I'll just Sage Wall boost us all up on the belt. We rush them down. We just pick them all apart in like 10 seconds. It was, there were some gorgeous sights here in this map, and I am very happy to see that this is going to be going the distance. Because now, the pendulum swings back over to GenG. How do you look going into Bind versus PRX, where they're feeling maybe overall a little bit more comfortable?
I mean, they had a 14-12 against T1 last week. It does feel a little bit more comfortable. It's where their, kind of their home ground is, and you have that Reyna composition as well. But they have shown different compositions before, and GenG, they've mainly stuck to their one with, Texture on the Raze. You got the Brimstone, the Gecko, and everything. So you kind of have to wonder how that's going to go. I mean, is either team prepared for it? Because GenG does have a bit of tape to study in that game against T1. But at the same time, I mean, right now, it's just although it looked like we were starting to lose the map a little bit, PRX started to look a lot more cohesive towards the end, especially with the whole team just knowing what their role is and just kind of watching for the information, Mind Freak watching for the rotates. That's like the PRX that we've all come to know and love.
It looked like that. It looked like a lot of what they had prepared was for the defensive side. And to your point about the team compositions on the agent compositions for Bind, they've shown a variety.
അയ്യോ ലാസ്റ്റ് പിന്നെ ഞാൻ ലൈവ് ഇടുന്നില്ല.
Did have some tape
Bye,
to
guys.
study, but at the same time, PRX is pretty notorious for
ഓഫ്ലൈനിൽ
changing
കാണാൻ
their
ചിലപ്പോൾ കിടന്നുറങ്ങും.
rule
ബൈ ബൈ
envy and
ഒരു
Valorant.
കോപ്പിറൈറ്റ് സ്ട്രീം.
Yes, in the past.